Welcome to Inner Peace Arts Unscripted. I'm your host, James Coleman. I'm a writer, speaker, and coach on personal development, spirituality, and social change. You can check out my blog at innerpeacearts.wordpress.com and Facebook and Twitter at innerpeacearts1 and write me at innerpeacearts@protonmail.com. Today I'm going to talk about thinking and right thinking and how much wrong thinking we probably do. I've been thinking about this for off and on. It's been popping in and out, and then, today it was just like, bam, whatever you need for it is there to talk about. And I realized that most of the time our thinking doesn't line up with reality. Not only does it not line up with reality, but it doesn't line up with the reality that we know to be true. And so this points to, a real, we'll call it a micro habit of addressing the real and having positive emotional responses in addressing what's real. I think we tend to have positive emotional responses to our fantasies, how we think reality should be, what we think should be, when that's actually not helpful for us achieving any goals in the real world, right? I mean, if you want to achieve a goal in your head, boom, done. I've conquered the world, just like that, in my head, okay? But, that has no impact on, anything else. Certainly no impact on you, right? So this idea is that we need to start to use the ideas that we know are true and actually work from and apply them and have positive emotional responses from them or from that endeavor. So for example, let's just talk about communication and language, right? Which is a huge, huge topic. Like, this whole video is useless if you don't speak English, right? It has absolutely zero value unless you think I'm that attractive. And hey, if you do, that's fine. I have to think positively about myself. But the language and communication is actually for the other person. And oftentimes we communicate wanting to get our idea across and wanting them to think like us and to agree with us, when in fact our communication has to be structured with them in mind as primary to that communication. What do I mean? If I want you, say I want you to come here, I'm sitting here and I say, oh, come here, right? I have to phrase it in such a way that you understand what I mean, right? And that, in a command like come here, that's pretty straightforward. But in terms of, sensitive things in relationships or trying to get somebody to do something at work, often somebody will just bark out orders or say, why don't you get it, blah, 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 blah. When the communication has to be structured for the person and for them to understand it, and for you to be thinking about how that communication is structured so that they understand it, right? And of course this gets, resolved in a lot of cultural scripts, so you don't have to think and you just go along. But we know that here at Inner Peace Arts, we're about developing new rote ways of going along. And one of those tasks that we need to be aware of in using this communication example is to communicate so that the other person understands what we are talking about and that it is our responsibility. So what does that mean? That means I need to know something about that person. I need to have imagined something that's true about that person. And I need to think about all of the perspectives that they could possibly take. I need to pattern match past actions of theirs to see what their perspective was so that I can address it in my communications. are we doing all that? Or are we just going, hey, listen, can you come pick me up today? As if, that's going to be enough all the time. And so that's what I wanted to share today. And that we need to look at the way reality is, what actually is, and respond to it, and use it to get what we want. Not using some, oh, this is how it should be, and this is, what I want it to be. And recognizing that, listen, that reality is shaped in part, well, in a big part, by our perspective. But, listen, we all know that there is some objective reality out there that is available for manipulation to get the things that we want. So I'm not going down that philosophical road here. There is a isness that you can see, that you can address, and you need to address it. Communication is one of the big areas that's coming off the top of my head. Actually, others are not coming off the top of my head so easily, just because communication is so huge. But even just as a subset of that, imagining the other person's perspective and being other-oriented, right? What are they thinking? How is what I am saying or doing addressing what they are thinking, such that I can get them to understand what I am talking about. And you can see how this is completely separate from the quality of the intention, right? Whether I want them to do something good or bad or whatever, it doesn't matter. This same task needs to be done. So you need to be good at it. I need to be good at it. And it's only accomplished by thinking rightly about things. I mean, it's what science does. And why don't we take more of these scientific principles and apply them to how we actually live our lives? And this is, not to, speak against the kind of spirituality, because we know that, as I had a conversation with, being is the paradox, right? Being is, there's no explanation for it. There's no explanation for why I can do the things I can do and all the things that are here. Why is there something rather than nothing? We don't know. And we access feelings. I don't want to get into that. We access feelings about it, and that's, a good thing. But here we're talking about thinking. So I'm staying on topic. And thinking rightly about the world around you, right? And then finding the ways to make manifest the things that you want. But I'm not even going there. I'm just talking today about thinking rightly about your surroundings, and using that knowledge to then make the decisions of what you want to accomplish, right? What you want to accomplish has nothing to do with the state of where things are, other than how it affects what you do to change that state. I hope that made some sense. So think rightly. Be willing to attach positive emotions to what is, even if you want to change what is, right? Because you need to take what is, understand it, and then make actions that mold it. You can't be attached to what you want and ignore the what is as if it's going to change, or as if you can just, say, not deal with it, because you have to deal with it. That's the one have to. I don't talk about have tos too often, but once you have decided on a want, right, the needs are the have to related to that want. They are the path that makes it happen. And there are paths that make it happen and paths that don't make it happen. And if you do a path that doesn't make it happen, well, then we know what happens. It doesn't happen. So that's it. Think rightly. Think right about the world. Take in what is and work with it to get to your objective, right? Whatever the state of the world is actually irrelevant to your objective, other than how it affects how you get there. This has been James Coleman. Inner Peace Arts, unscripted. I hope that this has been helpful for you. It's certainly helpful for me, and I look forward to hearing, how you have used this to make improvements in your own life. Yavarechecha Adonai veish merecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha, vichoneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, ve'asem lecha shalom. Have a great day.